Do I want to crochet? I don't think I want to. I'm making like a little keyboard wrist rest. Too many R sounds. I hate that. Just because I've been at my computer so much more often and I'm going back to school in the fall, so obviously I will be very active on my computer, more so than I am right now. So I just feel like it'll be nice on the joints because I'm 26, I'm getting older, so I have to consider these things. It was very recently my birthday. I've been vibing. I haven't even really been playing that many video games lately, which like on paper isn't necessarily true, but I think because at the beginning of the year I played so many 70 to 100-hour games back to back to back. It feels like I'm not really doing as much right now because I played Hades very casually. I started a run of Pokemon Black. No, it was Pokemon White because Lilligant is exclusive to White. I really wanted to replay that game and then I messed up on the emulator on my DS. The emulator on my DS, I messed that up because I thought I turned off all of the hotkey mapping, but I didn't do that. So I accidentally went back to a save state. I had like finished the 7th gym and then all of the story content that happens immediately after that, and I hadn't saved in a second. So the game froze and then I had to go back before I did all of the story stuff after the 7th gym, and then I accidentally hit whatever hotkey takes you back to a save state, and that took me back to before I even finished the 4th gym. So I lost all my progress and I killed the run, and I was very sad about that. I was having so much fun. I named my character Wanda after Wanda Childa from Fantasy High Junior Year. Any Dimension 20 fans out there? Oh, this is hot. Me when the hot water is hot. So yeah, that was really upsetting. I did request a copy of Pokemon Shining Pearl from the library because I started that game, but I had a while where I was like reselling things to get other games that were coming out sooner. So I just don't think I could finish. No, I keep calling it Brilliant Pearl. I think at the time I couldn't finish Shining Pearl for whatever other game it was that I wanted. So I took out a copy from the library. Literally my save file, I'm about to fight Byron. Like I was closer to the end of the game than not. So I'm surprised that I didn't just finish it. I guess I was like, this is a wash. I wanted to finish the run because I had a cool team picked out and everything. Like I was ready to go. Sorry, the reason why I talk about that is not because I care so much about playing Pokemon. I do. Pokemon is very fun, but it's just like a gentle reminder that libraries carry things that aren't books. I'm sure many people know by now. In the grand scheme of the history of libraries, I know them carrying video games is like a newer thing that maybe not a lot of people would know about. But if you're someone who's like strapped for cash or you don't want to pay $80 for a game that is going to take you 2 to 3 weeks to finish because it's short, the library is a valid alternative to experience the games that you want to play, but for free. Free-ish. Your tax dollars pay for it, but if the service is available to you, why not take advantage? Keep the library open. I guess generally I would like to say a big thank you on the positive reception that my last 2 videos have received. I had a lot of fun making them, especially after taking an incidental break from being online. It wasn't on purpose. I'm trying to be intentionally vague because I find when I overshare, I'm like, I don't want to post that. I was just having some issues with my health where I was like not really able to move, which was not very fun. I was just really tired and I was at a job that I wasn't liking. It was a commission-based role and I don't care enough about shilling for big business. So I was not a fit for that role, like culturally, socially. It didn't work. I have a new job now, which is exciting, and it'll be easy to do the job and school at the same time. I'm hoping to get out at least 2 scripted videos per month leading up to me returning to school, and then minimum 1 video per month while I'm in school. We'll see how it goes, just because school is a big commitment and I have a job, but I'm enjoying making content more so than I was before. Something weird happened when I hit 1,000 subscribers, because like one, I feel like I didn't really give myself flowers for that, even though that was a goal that I had for such a long time. Maybe it's because it happened while I was taking a trip and I was with family and like my focus was totally not on being online, because literally I hit 1,000 when I was on a plane leaving Vancouver, which like as a girly who is trying to make a career change and is taking a big risk on being unemployed, yada, 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 that felt quite glamorous to like have an achievement while I'm doing something as luxurious as flying. I guess I just want to say that I appreciate all the support that I've received lately, especially the Kellum video didn't get a lot of views, but I think it really found its audience because there's so many new people. I gained so many new subscribers. Welcome. Thank you so much for seeing something in me. I think sometimes I get hung up on this idea that my content isn't good, but I'm like, no, people wouldn't subscribe to you if you sucked. It's hard work being your biggest hater. It occupies so much bandwidth and it really just gets in the way. Like, it doesn't really help anything. Cause yeah, I deal with like really bad imposter syndrome, or like this general notion that I don't deserve things, which isn't really fair. And there's no good reasoning that actually rationalizes why I would deserve less. I also just had a bad relationship with the internet for a while in terms of like why I went away, because I teased that I was working on a bunch of videos and then I fucked off, which also, like, I think I'm gonna stop saying which video I'm working on, not because it like literally demotivates me or anything. I just find that when I say this is the video that I'm doing, it always happens that I fall out of interest in making that video and then I move on to doing other things. I restarted work on a video that I've publicly stated that I was going to make already. So it's something that I said I was going to do recently. That video is coming. I'm not going to say what because I don't want to jinx myself and I actually want to finish it. I had this long period where I was doom scrolling. I feel like I'm not using that term correctly because doom scrolling in my mind has more to do with like bad things that are happening in the world and like news events, and that term exploded in popularity especially during quarantine and the pandemic and like during the BLM movements, and we're seeing all of these failings of our institutions that we're supposed to rely on. That's what I think of when I think of the term doom scrolling. But I fell into this, I guess, trap where I really had to distance myself and like limit my time online because it was just making me so sad and discouraged. And that has nothing to do with my audience or the people who watch me. Even the people who like aren't living for what I do have largely been nice, except for the time that I was getting called slurs on 4chan. Like, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it by talking about it out loud because I feel like once you enter it into the zeitgeist, people are more willing to do it. But in my small corner of the internet and the people who are finding my videos, I've generally been treated quite well. This more so has to do with like me on Twitter and me using Instagram. Twitter and Instagram, I think, are the biggest offenders. I'm at the point where I can see a tweet and know what problematic discourse is happening underneath it just based on whatever short thing is happening alone. But I do a sort of confirmation bias thing where I'm like, I have to look. It feels like picking at a scab where I'm like, oh, I have to see what stupid conversation is happening. And as much as I love to see people embracing their inner child, usually that means our most vulnerable state when we're little and young, and not like middle school when we're aggressive little demons. It's like playground fights that I'm seeing online, and that made me so disheartened. I was like, why are people so angry and hateful? Like, don't you have anything better to do? Get a hobby, learn to draw, learn to paint. I learned to crochet. I picked up a very valuable skill and I like doing it a lot. It brings me a lot of peace. So I took a little bit of a digital break just in general, where I was like only consuming comfort content, or I was very consciously like not using social media platforms that would bother me, or like checking and acknowledging when I need to put the phone down, or like when I need to log off, go touch grass. There are some things that are so deeply personal, and that causes the discourse to be irrational, I guess. I can't look at any content that's about money. I can't look at any content that's about health, wellness, food, exercise, physical health, mental health. I just can't look at it because I find, I guess, the ideologies at play to be very frustrating. Like, ContraPoints in her canceling video makes an excellent point that especially online, like faceless people are so willing to talk in absolutes when it doesn't paint the full picture. And that's not me trying to take a centrist take, just so we're clear. I feel like exercise content makes the most sense because it's someone with a certain type of body saying you can have a body like mine, you're just not working hard enough. What really sent me over the edge was a tweet that I saw recently where this woman was like, I'm fat, I have kids, I exercise a lot, I make an effort to eat healthy, and I'm still fat. I'm a healthy person, but I haven't been able to lose weight. So something isn't like working about the way we think about this. And so many people were like, actually, you need to be doing the opposite. Actually, you need to eat more. Actually, you need to exercise less. Actually, you need more sleep, which all might be very well and true. I believe that people can push themselves too hard. It's so interesting to me that someone is always doing something wrong. There's never a right way to be. The story can't start and end at this is the body I have. And that content has been prevalent for a while. Or like health misinformation that's on TikTok. TikTok is bad for us. Breaking news. I know, it's crazy that I'm the first person telling you this. I haven't seen this conversation happening as loudly as it should be happening, but I'm sure some smart journalists have written many a work about the comparison that I'm about to make. But I do think TikTok and short form content in general are replacing the role that magazines culturally played in our society, where It's all about gatekeeping and like light misinformation that is plausible, but it's in service of getting you to buy something, right? Where you think you're consuming content that's like for you, or you're going to get good advice and it's going to fix your life and you're going to be suddenly so happy and rich and wealthy, and you'll have an abundance of friends and a gorgeous social life, and you'll have maximized your work versus leisure function and how you spend your time. That's like a first year econ thing. That is all to say that engaging with people online was really negatively impacting my mental health. So I had to step back, and like, this will all make sense in the end, I promise. But in one column of like being dissatisfied with being online, I'm like, people lack critical thinking and are so quick to lead with their first impulse or their first thought, and not think about things any more deeply than face value, or they are so driven by their belief system that they're unable to consume anything else. Like, and there's this need that some people have when they're like, I have a good life and this person doesn't, in my eyes, that they're like, oh, I need to fix that. I need to tell you how to lose weight. Sorry that I'm using that as the example. I'm sorry if that's triggering to anybody. It is for me, which is why I had to get offline. But I was so frustrated by that discourse of like, exercise less and sleep more, like as if it's that simple. Some people just look how they look. There's so much information that supports broad conclusions out there that people are just so willing to ignore. And I think in like the health and wellness space, it really has to do with not infiltrating the mindset, because it does take someone being a certain type of fucked up to like exercise to the point where they're killing their bodies. I don't know if someone needs to hear this, but you don't need to do that. Exercise can be light and enjoyable and just as good for your body, and sometimes better for you because you avoid the risk of an injury. And if your goal is actually being healthy and not just specifically looking a certain way, you're not going to get so discouraged because it's not going to physically hurt as much for you to exercise. As someone who's like fallen off of exercising multiple times after after doing like grueling Chloe Ting challenges, which are not a good fit for someone who doesn't exercise regularly, IMHO, they're not beginner, they're not entry level. You need something way easier on your body, and then you'll build muscle over like 2 months, and then that'll be easy. Just like so many people are so willing to give bad advice because they think you need to have this impenetrable mindset in order to actually do the thing. And if you don't have that, you don't want it bad enough, or it gets in the way of your goals, etc., etc., etc. And I just don't believe it. Like, canola oil isn't going to kill you. It's not. The war on sugar, people calling food the worst drug affecting society, or like all of the eat less calorie deficit content. I'm like, no, people need to eat food. That's never going to change as a part of the human condition. Like, that's not going to go away. People should eat enough. Do you know how much happier you are when you eat enough? Significantly. So that was one thing. And then I also just had like an existential crisis where I was like, I'm a bad person. And I like dissected all of the ways in which that I can cause harm to other people. But it ended up being the Neon Genesis Evangelion. I don't like that show very much, but I do think it has some interesting philosophical things to say. The hedgehog dilemma is brought up in that show, and it's just about like closeness and human connection, and about how you will always hurt people. But then in deconstructing like my own argument for, I guess, living privately and disconnecting, I was like, you're just making arguments to be lonely. I think it also like triggered or activated some feelings that I was having during the early era of Instagram. I think a lot of my fear of like living publicly stems from the Instagram era of being able to see other people's likes and everything. Like, I was so deliberate with how I used the internet. Like, I was pretty much only out in my personal social life and publicly with friends for a very long time. And I guess some of that fear and anxiety still lives with me, because now I follow all of these hot guys on Instagram, and I'm like, it's crazy that I wasn't doing this as like a teenager. And then I remember that there's a specific reason why. So yeah, my relationship soured with the internet as a concept. And I was also just having this existential moral panic. Thankfully, I've moved past that. So I'm feeling a lot better, because I'm not so consumed by this idea that I'm a bad person because I have the potential to be bad, which is like an unfair expectation, right? I do think that fear probably course corrects me into trying really hard to be good. So perhaps there's a pro of exploring what that looks like. This is empty. I don't need this anymore. I'm glad to have moved past that. And I think it's making my life easier. I feel more confident. I don't know if any of this is reading anymore. You can clearly tell that I need a therapist. I just can't afford one. And all of those online services aren't real. Like BetterHelp, they don't hire therapists and they're getting sued. Don't use BetterHelp. It might be tempting. Be skeptical. Be skeptical of the price. They're taking advantage of people and not offering real therapy. Maybe this is another video that'll really come together in the edit. Anyways, thank you guys so much. I'm at about 1350. I do work hard on all of my videos and I try to make them worth watching. So it's nice to get a little bit of traction and have people actually see the work. Happy and excited by making content again. I think I've just like figured out my ethos and what's fun for me, because I'm a hater, but I also think I'm so funny. So if I'm making myself laugh, I'm assuming other people will be laughing as well. I hope to be more consistent in the future. I always say that, but like, so I think it'll be easier for me moving forward, if that makes sense. Like, thank you to everyone who watches and everyone who's subscribed. If you're interested in supporting the channel further, my coffee is in the description if you want to just leave a tip. I've also started a Patreon. Patreon members get priority boarding. You can join as a super member, call me super, a star member, or a crystal member. I love crystal. Fun Sailor Moon theming. I love that I use Sailor Moon aesthetics literally everywhere, and I don't even talk about anime. Will you ever hear me talk about Sailor Moon? Who can ever be sure? Maybe someday. After my my 3-year Naruto project is over, maybe that'll be my next long form show that I tackle. Thank you again for listening to my ramblings. Be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, comment down below. I'm thinking I didn't really do a 1K special anything. I'm thinking of a 1.5K in lieu of that, whether that's like a special stream or like an Ask Me Anything. I'm really in love with unpopular opinions videos as of late, just because I think they're fun. And a lot of people say out of pocket things. Yeah, I think that's all for today. I'm running out of steam. I'm very tired. Even though I've had 2 coffees and it's still very early. I also have a lot of ideas for streaming Pokemon, specifically Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, which is crazy because those games are 2 years old, but there are things that I want to do specifically in Brilliant Diamond. Maybe I'll see you on stream. My Wi-Fi has also been really fucked up, so that's part of the reason why I stopped streaming for a while, just because my service has been really choppy, unfortunately. Like, I was playing Project Zomboid online with the pals the other day, and like, I got kicked from the game. I got kicked from the Discord call at separate times. So something is a little bit funky. And unfortunately, I'm a perfectionist. And if things aren't working 100% all the time, my gut instinct is to just not do it. Like, even if I lost connection for a minute in like a 2-hour project, I'd be like, no, it needs to go in the garbage. It's not good. Throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, I just can't do this anymore. Anywho, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I know that I'm a silly little dummy. And I will see you later. Bye.